people who have decided to follow.
Then another year it starts again. Well, this is different.
We shall definitely be talking to those wonderful people. Once again, we urge you to share the feed on Facebook.
Hi there, I'm Faida, and today we're going to be talking about the African diaspora in Mexico.
Whether UK likes it or not, I have to leave this country.
I became a member and a chief of the Vice Lord all in one day.
All these guys winds right out of the north at Midway Airport.
His father.
Rice and beans. Okay, kids, we have had to come to an end of this beautiful set.
It's
Not about this.
This is the inside account of a week that brought the Rainbow Nation to its knees.
Right, essentially trying to inculcate into this. Very talented young people who have decided to follow.
Then another year it starts again. Well, this is different.
We shall definitely be talking to those wonderful people. Once again, we urge you to share the feed on Facebook.
Hi there, I'm Faida, and today we're going to be talking about the African diaspora in Mexico.
Whether UK likes it or not, I have to leave this country.
I became a member and a chief of the Vice Lord all in one day.
All these guys winds right out of the north at Midway Airport.
His father.
Rice and beans. Okay, kids, we have had to come to an end of this beautiful set.
It's not about this.
This is the inside account of a week that brought the Rainbow Nation to its knees.
Right, essentially trying to inculcate into this. Very talented young people who have decided to follow.
Then another year it starts again. Well, this is different.
We shall definitely be talking to those wonderful people. Once again, we urge you to share the feed on Facebook.
Hi there, I'm Faida, and today we're going to be talking about the African diaspora in Mexico.
Whether UK likes it or not, I have to leave this country.
I became a member and a chief of the Vice Lord all in one day.
All these guys winds right out of the north at Midway Airport.
His father.
Rice and beans. Okay, kids, we have had to come to an end of this.
Aglo, Aglo, Aglo. Aglo Bolingbrook Lighthouse is a network of caring women. We are a dynamic global movement with a single mission to see God's purpose fulfilled on earth as it is in heaven. Our mandate is every nation touched and every heart changed for God. We invite you to our prayer meeting every Saturday and breakfast meeting held every last Saturday of the month from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. via Zoom meeting. For more information, please contact Dickness Rebecca Modi at 630-297-1471 or Reverend George Ofe Ado, our advisor, at 630-414-9505. We look forward to having a refreshing time with you in the Lord. Thank you and stay blessed.
Welcome everyone. This is the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Senna, aka Alinko, and this evening we're going to be talking to Mr. Akwasi Ababio, who is the Director of Diaspora Affairs at the President's Office in Ghana. He is no stranger to the show. We are excited to have him this afternoon. If you just join us, this is the Progressive Mind Show. Again, my name is Senna. I go by Alinko as well. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. If you join us, please share this feed so that your friends in the diaspora and even back home can be part of the conversation. We're going to go straight to our guest this evening, Mr. Ababio. Mr. Ababio, I think, good. Okay, whilst he's adjusting his thing. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ababio, who also goes by Dallas. Dallas, you're welcome to the show once again.
Yes, thank you, Alenko. And, good evening to all your viewers.
Awesome.
I'm happy to be in your company tonight.
Thank you, and we appreciate the time. We want to remind our audience that we had Mr. Dallas on the. We were supposed to have him last week, Sunday, same time, but due to a few glitches here and there, that wasn't a possibility. So we're glad that he's been able to make it today. That said, Dallas, for folks who have not, for some few folks who are just now seeing you on the show, we'd like to get a little background of how you even got.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
All right, so it looks like we're having a little technical break, but what I'm saying is, we would like to know a little bit about you. When did you get this appointment of being the diaspora?
I didn't get the last statement.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So my question is, how long have you been in the office of the president as the Director for Diaspora Affairs?
Thank you. And let me start off by saying how sorry I am. I wasn't able to make myself available the last time you had this scheduled.
Absolutely.
Which is last Sunday. Once we put that aside, I'm excited to be here right now. And just to let you know, in answer to your question, that I've been here, I've been in the position since 2017. So yes, that's roughly about 6 years to this day.
Thank you. And the topic for today is recap of 2022 year of return, beyond the return, and of course we're going to find out what is ahead of us. Now, in a brief sentence, how do you see what's your take? What's your viewpoint on the just ended beyond the return celebrations in Ghana?
Sorry, again, the question wasn't so clear.
Yeah, I think it's a network. My question is your take on the just ended beyond the return celebrations in Ghana.
Yes, great. I think I have been very excited about where we are going with this, beyond the return, and of course the continuation of the year of return. It's beginning to look more like the people's ownership of that policy, of that initiative, which is very, very good, because essentially what began as a government initiative is now seriously being owned by the people, and they are coming up with all sorts of ideas as to where they want it to go. Even though we have this, pillars of the beyond the return, and clearly gives us an opportunity to organize around those frameworks. Around that framework, it still comes down to the fact that people have taken the initiatives and are programming and are organizing and are making sure that we can have the beyond the return. And that for me is exciting and refreshing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that response. And I think also folks who have just joined would like to know exactly what your role is. What is the responsibility of the office of the director for diaspora in the president's office in Ghana?
Okay, the office began as being available to assist the diaspora, whenever they have the opportunity to come home to engage either government or the large society, the society at large, in all their initiatives, in all the things that they want to, and the projects and the programs that they want to undertake. And basically, in this course of line of duty, the office has been more involved in the establishment of the diaspora engagement policy, the coordination and the trying to see how that can effectively be put in place to enable institutions that are playing various roles as far as engaging the diaspora can effectively play the roles that are required of them in the engagement of the diaspora. And the diaspora has been engaged in several ways, in several fronts, in several initiatives, and that is basically being manifested in the ownership that they are beginning to take of the engagement process.
Thank you again, Ms. Dallas, for that response. Again, for people who are first-time watchers on the show, I know you've been on here twice now. People are calling, but they have to wait till we get a few information out. You said something in your in the response you just gave, that when people come home, now is the office of the diaspora set up to intentionally invite diasporans, African Americans?
Hello.
Okay, I think that we have an issue. Can you hear me now?
I lost you again.
Yes, can you hear me now? Hello?
Hello?
Yes,
I lost you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. You're still good, right? Let me know if it goes off. Just give me a thumbs up. That way I know you can hear me.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, cheers.
So the question I was trying to ask is the office of the diaspora set up so that when diasporans, especially African Americans, return, then they can have their facilitation and their movement in Ghana taken care of, or it's set up to intentionally invite them home to be part of the building of Ghana and Africa as a whole?
I think it's for both, really. Basically, we are also spearheading the return initiative.
Okay.
So that people can come back to Africa, through Ghana. The reconnection back to the Black continent is essentially being championed by the office and by this government to enable those who want to see Ghana as a place of pilgrimage for the Black returning to Africa to do so, as Ghana being the gateway. So we are doing that. Equally, in the same way, we are facilitating what they have come home to do in every way possible. the biggest and the most obvious facilitation that we all know have talked about would be the need for those who want to be Ghanaians, who want to be, given the Ghanaian citizenship, have been given that opportunity through the office by making sure that we do the right advocacies that are needed for the implementing agencies that are responsible for granting of citizenship to, go ahead and give those who are there to ask for our citizenship the right to have those citizenship. So yes, that is what we've been doing, and that is just an example of what most people would come home looking for. A large number, before they even think about the citizenship, are looking for residence permit to be able to stay in the country considerable length of time, even as they make up their minds and decide whether this is the place for them. And again, that is something that we have been facilitating. And then we can also talk about other things that on regular basis they will be looking for.
That is a very powerful question, and I think that it goes to speak to Ghana being known as the gateway to Africa, and we are proud that we've taken these initiatives, and hopefully other African countries, specifically sub-Saharan African countries, can follow suit. That said, again, so we can have a good background for those who don't even know why we're talking about the year of return or beyond the year of return. So let's just get to the premise of the year of return. Is this something that was just part of the current president, His Excellency Akufo-Addo's policy, that when he becomes president or while he's president, he wants to get the African Americans or diasporans back home, or it was just a coincidence that collided with 400 years of slavery in the year 2019, because this is when it all began. So just, if you may give us
I think basically it's a continuation of what we have been doing as a country all throughout the time of all the various governments that have come to pass.
Okay.
For instance, going way back to even when Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, was the head of state. He went out of his way to make sure that people like Angela Milo and Du Bois and others could also be given a chance to come back to Ghana. So fast forward, and throughout the years, we have also been doing this. President Rawlings has done it. President Mahama also did it. And this government, realizing the importance that is all about, decided then to set up, as elevate the diaspora affairs to the high table of governance, which is basically the president making sure that the office of the diaspora affairs can be allocated, was placed right under his nose at the presidency. And that gave us the credence and the authority and the power and the connections and the backbone that we are looking for to execute what we have been doing. So working closely with other government agencies, we have then been able to, work on the initiatives that we have put together to actually give the president the opportunity to then lead in that year of return process.
Powerfully said. And again, thank you for responding. In matters like this, for people, some of us who are here in the diaspora, leading the cause for the diasporans and Africans, continental Africans and diasporans to connect, especially considering the resources that are bountiful in our communities, we feel very proud in moments like this that being a Ghanaian is special, and our country has led the cause, knowing that our people were separated. Okay, so looks like we're having a glitch again. How is it going? Let me know if it comes back. It's good now?
Yeah, it's good now. Yes.
Awesome, great. So again, knowing that Ghana has taken this initiative, some would ask, and actually people talk about it here because we are here, we've been leading the African diaspora community in these conversations. And so what we hear on the ground is, as people are returning at the end of every year, what is happening after they have returned or after they've come home in December and celebrated? What is the policy or the plan laid out so that their return is not just a celebratory one, but also can contribute to the development of Ghana and the entire region? I think I missed him again. We had this glitch, and so he didn't hear me.
Philanthropic, initiatives, and most of them are actually doing so many things, quite apart from coming to party in Ghana during the Christmas, and also being, the highlights of the party and the amusements that we hear about. There are so many who are into all sorts of development and socio-economic, programs that are helping us as a country. So basically, when they come home during Christmas, I believe that is only a point of entry time when they think, it is time to join the party. But most have stayed on and have done other things and have had the opportunity to, play roles that would also enable us to advance our socio-economic lives and development. So, for instance, when Chance the Rapper came to Ghana, even before his December appearance, before that, he had actually had the opportunity to interact with the higher institution, which is the University of Ghana, to think about what they could do together, in terms of, putting in place some, initiative that will really, really help out in the, university's program of trying to get people, educated in a certain way. So other people have also done other things that we can sit here and talk about, but time might not permit us. So quite apart from the party, quite apart from coming to enjoy themselves during Christmas, there are so many who are coming in at other times that are not getting the headlines and are engaging in, And then, of course, there are those who are already here who do not even have to come because they live here and are into all sorts of things, into very productive, businesses and
economic ventures
programs that are helping out.
Awesome. So great point you made there. There are a lot of African Americans, Caribbeans who are currently living in Ghana. Is there, I don't know if the government is or your office is collecting data in terms of their numbers and the kind of businesses they are into. Do we have any data in that regard?
I think it appears the data initiative is really working in a way because of the overall government initiative of getting data on our citizens.
Right.
So basically, given that everybody now has to have a Ghana card, the process of making sure that everybody in the country is registered, be you a Ghanaian or a foreigner, we are beginning to get that data in place. And I think with the extension of the registration of Ghanaians outside of Ghana, that is to be undertaken by the National Identity Authority and the Foreign Affairs Office. This is going to really help us to, get the opportunity to register as many people as possible. Right apart from that, we are dealing with a group of associations, associated members who have also registered with their parent organizations, and therefore, the data is available through those organizations that have registered and that we know, are in this country already.
Once again, thanks for the response, and I think that the glitch is we're having that, repeatedly an issue with our systems. This is the Progressive Mind Show. You are listening to Director of Diaspora Affairs at the President's Office in Ghana, in the person of Mr. Akwasi Ababio, aka Dallas. You can call him Dallas. He's okay with it, and he's telling us we just basically conversing with him regarding the year of return, beyond the return, why it was set up, the benefits of it, and what is to come. So if you just join us, please feel free to ring in a little bit. The number is 815-277-5047. If you want to ask him a question, comment, or just congratulate him or say hi to him, he's all the way in Ghana, by joining us. And so if you want to congratulate him or say hi to him, please feel free to do so. But don't also forget to like Progressive Minds on Facebook and on YouTube. Follow the page, subscribe, turn on the notifications. So anytime we come your way on Tuesdays between 6 to 8 p.m. and on Sundays 4 to 6, you can be part of the community building agenda and also contribute to our.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you now hear me? All right. While we try to get this fixed, I must say, it's one of the reasons why we encourage our listeners to donate to the Progressive Mind Show. We have 501c non-for-profit radio show, and this is where we talk about issues that you may not be able to discuss on ABC or mainstream media. So we're encouraging you to support us by donating on our website, theprogressivemindshow.com. Theprogressivemindshow.com. Mr. Ababio, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Great.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll get through this, and it's 4:25 p.m. Central. So you talked about Chance the Rapper being involved, or actually taking the initiative in working with high educational institutions in Ghana to see how he can help improve the educational system, which is powerful. Another powerful figure we know that came to Ghana is Dave Chappelle. Can you tell us a little bit about your interaction with him and even any projects that he may be planning to do in Ghana?
Sorry, did you ask a question again?
Yes, I asked the question regarding Dave Chappelle. Chance the Rapper is helping with higher institutions to see how the Ghana education can get better. How about Dave Chappelle? When you interacted with him, how was it like? How did he feel about being being to Ghana the first time? And are there any plans for him also in terms of any type of developmental projects in Ghana?
Yes, I think Dave certainly has got plans, but I would prefer that he talks about those plans himself. But the enthusiasm that he has shown so far is very, very, positive for us, that he actually wants to come and, get his hands dirty in Ghana. So that is going to be very, very welcoming. He intends to really come home and also get some things going. And I believe I'm going to leave that for him to the opportunity that he gets to really tell us about what he intends to do. But I can at least let others know that yes, Dave is quite keen, just as others, in coming back home to also leave his mark.
Awesome. Dallas, I would like you to respond to this, but feel free to use your discretion based off presidential protocol. There was a huge uproar on social media regarding McMill's video shoot at the president's office and it being on social media. There were talks that why was he allowed to be in our office?
I lost you.
Oh, you
lost you.
Okay. The internet can be acting like this, but again, bear with us, viewers, because he's all the way in Ghana, so we're trying hard to make sure that we can get the production going. But of course, better equipment also enhances. But with support, we can also enhance our systems so that we avoid a lot of these technical glitches. Dallas, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Great. My question is that there was a huge uproar with McMill's visit to Ghana and, him taking a video at the president's office and including that in his video shoot. People are saying, why would he have the opportunity to be at the highest seat of office in Ghana to do such a thing when you cannot do that here in the United States? You want to respond to that, but feel free to use your protocol discretion.
I think we have had the opportunity to address this issue on several occasions with the interactions with the media. And shortly after that incident, I have had the opportunity to go to so many of our media houses in Ghana and actually, discuss this issue. I think the bottom line is that, yes, much as we agree that it was an indecent act and, not planned for and not, something that had been sort of deliberately been encouraged. the thing is, we have to put ourselves in the shoes of those who were involved in this incident.
Right.
I think Mick Mills was, I believe, acting a little bit, showing his enthusiasm, and you can't blame him for being so free when in his mind, he comes to a place like Ghana where he knows, that the bonds that, perhaps were put on people of his descendants were put together, and then, that has been the bond that has held them in bondage for so many years. To come back here with a kind of unbound yourself is something that can lead to all sorts of things. That having been said, we are not justifying what and basically saying that yes, we are excited with that kind of exposure.
Right.
But I've always tried to explain to for us to be able to know that as we open our hands, we open our arms to welcome people to the country. We have not really perhaps taken them through any serious orientation and prayer programs before coming to Ghana, and therefore, as a country, we would, I believe, from time to time, have these kind of frictions and kind of things that have happened in the recently. That is something that we have to plan for in the future, and that I believe we can handle it better. And I believe it is also important to note that Mick Mills is only one of so many others who have come through, and this is perhaps the first incident that we think has involved somebody of that nature, and that he has also rightly apologized for it, and therefore the whole thing should be put to bed.
Great response. Now, we really appreciate for you clearing the air, and that really, that really
was
helps.
That clear enough?
Yes, you were very clear. Yes, you were very clear enough. I think we're still having that issue. Let me know when you can hear me, Mr. Ababio.
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Yes, I was responding to your question. You were very clear enough, and so thanks for that great response. I think it puts to bed that incident, and then we can move on as a people. And you said something very powerful, which is, if I heard it correctly, it seemed as though there is no, let's say, an organized orientational program for even the celebrities and the celebrities and a lot of the folks that are coming back home to integrate them into the culture, because it's different. Even though it's the same, because of our separation is unique now, and so because of the uniqueness of our culture,
there is nothing at the moment. But there are some private initiatives that are also being encouraged. That I recently had the opportunity to meet the professor at the University of Ghana, who has his own program and is working with some private initiatives, some private members, to basically give the opportunity of educating people, even as far as educating people on the languages that that people might want to learn before they come over. So we are beginning to have this thing, coming together, but we need to, it needs more resources, it needs incapacitation, and that is what has to be, attended to in the course of time to really make it possible. Awesome. Again, I must also add that there has been a technical team that has put together an act that is supposed to, enable us to have a well-organized homeland return, and that is the Homeland Return Act. If this should go ahead, it also comes with some suggestions as to how, a fully functioning organization should enable so many of these, orientations to take place, and also to even get the frontline organizations, which is the foreign affairs and the missions and the embassies, to see how they can engage those who want to come in even before they arrive in Ghana. So yeah, we have plans, but then plans do need, resources to get them executed, and that's what we hope we can get to enable us to do as required.
Great point. I have two follow-up questions for you. You said there are plans, but we need resources. Has the government of Ghana seen, or
again, I lose you?
Okay. Can you hear me now? How is it going? Can you hear me? Okay. You were watching the Progressive Mind show live on Facebook and on YouTube. We are here every Tuesday now. It used to be Wednesday. So for folks who have just joined us, we are now on Tuesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Central. And on Sundays, we are here from 4 to 6 p.m. So we can connect with our continental African followers and also continue our bridging of the gap with the diaspora. And so if you just join us, please be aware that this show is specifically to connect the continent of Africa and our diaspora community here. We're talking to Dallas from who is the director of the can you hear me now, Dallas?
Again, I lose you once more.
Okay. We would get to this. Let's see if we can take a short break. When we come back, we would attempt to speak some more with Director of Diaspora Affairs, Mr. Ababio. Now, we also know that Idris Elba was in Ghana. Actually, he probably might be in Ghana.
I believe he's still in Ghana because he's in Kumasi today, unless he's flown out as quickly as possible. But he attended an event in Kumasi, which is the Akwasi there by the Asantehene. So I believe he must be in Ghana.
And has he been installed as a chief?
No, not that I know of. I haven't. But anyone can attend the Akwasi there festival, which is basically something that happens from time to time. So I believe he was a guest of the festival, and the Asantehene would have made sure that he was rightly given the opportunity to be part of it.
Yes, the reason why I asked is that he, if you see him on social media, he seemed to have been
wearing the clothes.
Decorated.
On Akwasi there, almost everyone who attends puts on that clothes. So I don't know about the chief him being made a chief, but almost everyone attending the event would ideally be wearing the cloth, and I believe he wanted to conform, and therefore he may have obliged to wear it.
Okay, beautifully said. I was going to the question that I wanted to ask before we had the glitch is that talking about resources needed for these policies to be implemented or to get these programs going fluidly, has the government of Ghana realized any type of revenue from 2019 is past, but we've had beyond the return, two of the beyond the return now since COVID. So are we realizing revenue or profits, and can this be put towards some of these programs?
I think the crude estimates that we always make out of all this initiative, quite apart from the investment side of it, which happens, and therefore we do not know immediately until GIPC and all the sectors that are involved actually report about those big investments. The crude and the easy ones, the easy hanging fruits that we can talk about would always be the numbers and the estimated spendings that the average tourist or those who attend the event will spend when they come to Ghana, which is how we had arrived at the 2019 estimate of the 1.9 billion. So in the same way, going by the numbers that arrived in the country and that we are able to get through what migration service can give, we are able to know that yes, roughly the average tourist will spend about $200 $2,000 or so, and therefore we can always get a crude estimate of the spendings that take place. But on a daily basis, I mean, one could witness in Accra, especially where most of the tourist people live and get involved in so many things, the numbers that are on the streets, and that is an indication of how everybody seems to be having a fair share of whoever has come and visited us during that time. I believe the hoteliers and the hospitality industry are the most obvious ones who enjoy. But equally, our transporters and those who are carrying people about and those who are selling artifacts are all enjoying the numbers that have been coming into town during this December in Ghana, party in Ghana, and and the numbers are going higher and higher because. And again, the demographics and everything is also seems to be changing. So, whereas perhaps in the past you would see only some young people in certain areas, at certain parties, at certain organized events. Now you're getting a cross section of the society all involved, and that is very, very promising.
Thank you so much, Dallas, for engaging us so far. It's 5:40 p.m.
Are you getting me?
Yes, we're hearing everything you're saying.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Did you get me? Did you get my last? Yes?
Absolutely, we heard everything. Yes, we heard everything.
Thank you.
Yes, well, absolutely. You're welcome. And I just want to remind our audience and viewers this late afternoon, that after Dallas leaves, we're going to have Angela Clay, who is running for the 46th Ward Alderman office. She will be here to talk about her reasons to run, and so her reasons for running for office and what she wants to bring to her community, which will be the 46th Ward. Angela Clay will be on the show around 5:30. So please stay tuned so we can hear what she wants to do and what she has for us. Again, the number is 815-277-5047 if you want to ring in and share your opinion or say hi to Dallas. 815-277-5047. Dallas, can you still hear us?
Yeah, now I can hear you. We were out some few minutes, but few seconds, but okay. Now I can hear you.
Great. I'm still curious curious about Idris's visit. I know he mentioned, it's on the news, it's on social media, that he wants to work on a studio facility in Ghana. Aside that, there was also news on social media that there's another African American who is in Ghana now, who has migrated to Ghana now, building a studio facility. Now, so there's two facilities now potentially that will be built, but they'll be built by African Americans. Hello. Hello. Well, we'll keep trying to go through this interview. And I think the main reason why I think we're having this issue is perhaps the long distance. Mr. Ababio is all the way in Ghana, and it's almost 11 p.m. on GMT right now. It's almost 11 p.m. in Ghana, and I think one of the reasons why we're having the technical issues with regards to the feed. Hopefully we can get it straight and finish this conversation with him. Dallas, let me know if you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, you're true.
Okay, my question is, Idris is trying to build a studio in Ghana.
As soon as you start a question, then you seem to drop off. I know you want to ask about Idris.
Yeah, and his intentions of building a studio in Ghana. Now, apart from that, are there any other African Americans who are trying to build factories or contribute, do any other projects apart from the studios that we've heard so far?
I think yes, there are several in all areas of economy, and I believe even in the manufacturing and in other, 1D, 1F initiatives, some
Yes.
have taken a keen interest to be also part of it.
Okay.
That program is certainly an easy one for anyone to identify what needs to be done. Both Ghanaians and our investors are all looking to play major roles, and they basically to make sure that our transformation can take place. Our raw materials can be transformed before they leave Ghana, and that is something that has been sold to all investors, including the diaspora community, and everyone is keen to be part of it.
Awesome. Let's talk about the orientation of diasporans coming home. You mentioned what needs to be done. I think what I also want us to look at is, are the citizens of Ghana being oriented, perhaps getting to the end of the year when there's a large influx of the diaspora coming in, or at least, or on a regular basis, of the need of us understanding that the African Americans and some of the diasporans coming home are not just some foreigners coming to enjoy the festivities and tourism in Ghana, but these are truly our brothers and sisters that were taken away from us.
I think you get it right with that question, and that is something that we recognize needs to be taking place, and rightfully so. It's happening. The traditional authorities are involved, the executing agencies, the GTA, before every major, festivity, is involved in trying to sensitize the public, and the hospitality industries are all, being asked to recognize that they have a different category of people who are coming in, even though they are the same people. The expectations are, this and that we need to match up to it and rise up, and but what is of major interest to me is the traditional authorities that are also being brought into this, because they recognize that these people, when they come, are going to live in the communities that they are the custodians of the land, and therefore they need to know and how they can all be helpful in making these people feel that much welcome. I suppose with a few here and there that is being bestowed on some of them, is an indication of how we want to quickly get them involved, even at the very traditional and the customary level of governance, of leadership roles. So we are trying every bit to do this, and basically it's happening at a very unsung levels, but it's happening.
Thank you for responding, because it's very much a concern of a lot of us here, knowing that our brothers and sisters are returning home.
I think we can do more. That's why I keep coming back with the resources that need to be in place to enable this thing to happen in a more systematic and a more organized way.
Mm-hmm.
For now, even though there's something going on, I believe there's a lot that can be done to make it even better.
Thank you again for responding, Dallas. And you keep saying resources. Are you talking about literally funding, the government funding it, or private individuals or institutions, organizations coming to fund this programs? Is that what you're talking about?
I think it's both. Even with the government, of course, the government is always trying to rationalize the few that it has, the little that there is. We are also inviting the general public from time to time to also, really be part of this whole thing. And it calls for all hands on deck to really enable us to do what we want to do. So yes, it's a combination of everything. Everybody is needed to really play a part in doing this. The diaspora community themselves are fully much, invited, very much welcome to come in and see how this can be there for their benefits.
Once again, we appreciate your responses, Dallas. It's been a little edgy with our network, but so far so good. And again, we had some calls earlier. We didn't mean to restrict you, but we wanted to get some of his message out before taking calls. So please feel free to do so now. 815-277-5047. How is the citizenship process going currently? We saw recently, again on social media, that some African Americans or some diasporans were given citizenship. So can you tell us a little bit more about what's with that program?
Okay, I think with that citizenship drive, basically what we are trying to do is to extend the same rights and privileges that we have as Ghanaians to those who are showing the willingness to also live with us and be part of us as Ghanaians.
Right.
Even though, yes, we are all black, and we all say all the time that as long as you are black, you are an African, which is a common phrase from the president whenever he quotes Peter Tosh. But people want to also have the same, privileges and legal rights, and that is what they seek to do when they want the citizenship, which is why we are, trying all the time to meet those demands. And I think the president is quite willing to do this, knowing that there are people who, when given the opportunity, would be part of us and could also play key roles. For every country, it always remains that the people are the biggest asset. And if we get to add to our asset, I believe, it goes a long way to help us in the end. So all the initiatives that we have undertaken is basically to meet the request and the demands that these people are making to get that citizenship. And we should be proud as a country that, our citizenship is in demand, and that Ghana is, by this, setting ourselves up for the gateway to Africa.
Again, thank you, Dallas. There has been concerns of the diasporans feeling like they are foreigners in Ghana. Some have talked about the COVID-19 test, medical report, police report, that they go through the same processes as Asians or
yes. I think yes, there are rules and regulations that persist. I mean, and of course, you should see Ghana as a sovereign state with rules and regulations that enable us to deal with the bigger issues that confront us. I've always insisted on the fact that Ghana, not being very resourceful, has to be very mindful of how we have to make sure that the gatekeeping does not allow us to bring in or import some things that would have shortages of beds in our hospitals and all the things that you could associate with COVID. Which is why we have been very strict with our COVID restrictions. And Ghana has been noted as one of the countries that manages COVID, very well, just because we were able to do the gatekeeping in such a way that the few people were affected. And of course, we always knew that it was coming from outside. And unfortunately, our friends and family are coming from outside, and therefore they need to be, undergo those stringent measures that we have imposed on ourselves, which is not to say we don't want some of them to come, but as a small country with very limited resources, we have to be mindful of what we may have to deal with in the future if there's an outbreak.
Okay, thanks. If somebody wants to get a resident permit in Ghana, do they get it from your office, or there's another place for?
Yes, we basically facilitate the resident permits by making sure that we give those who are keen to get it the opportunity to be introduced to the immigration service with a letter from our office that please make sure that this person can be given the resident permit. And even if you go to immigration service, they will refer you back to us to say, yes, come and get a letter. Because as it is the president's initiative of, asking for people to return. And therefore, on the basis, they would like to say that, yes, the man who has introduced or who has, ask you to come is the person who is saying that you should be given this resident permit.
Awesome. And how long typically does it take for one to secure a residence permit?
I think as soon as you take the letter to the immigration service, they process you for their resident permit.
So turnaround time in a week?
No, I wouldn't say it's in a week because there are certainly a backlog of so many people trying to get it, and therefore you might take more than a week. But it is an expedited action, and that is something that I think most who have been through it are quite satisfied with the outcomes.
So on the average, what would you say is would be the turnaround, and how much do people have to pay, just in case someone is listening and want to take their initiative?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
I'm saying on the average, what is the turnaround to to apply and receive your permanent residence, and how much is involved, the fee?
Oh, I think what we do with a resident permit for the African Americans and the historical Africans is that to really limit the cost of trying to get these things. So on top of my head, after all these increases and changes that have been made, I'm not able to give you the figure, but it is certainly manageable, and that is something they haven't been complaining about.
Okay.
I think it is also important to know that even just as we have in the citizenship, the normal cost of acquisition of these things are not passed on are not the same sort of the treatment that we give to the historical Africans who are looking for the same citizenship and residence permit.
Okay. Again, thank you. And I want to push you again. I know I've asked this question before, but let me now that we have the opportunity, again, feel free to respond to it, because I know these policies are at the presidential level. Policies, parliament have to pass them. But the issue of giving our brothers and sisters who are returning home land to show our part of reparation, reconciliation, restoring them to what rightfully belonged to them before our.
I think if I got your question right,
yes,
you are assuming that, or the question was about giving land to those who are returning, isn't it?
Yes, African Americans, Caribbeans, yes.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that the government does not hold lands that it is giving out to individuals who are coming back in any form. Rather, traditional leaders who are custodians of land are trying hard to also, be part of this whole return program by offering lands that they have control over. So, for instance, in the case of Asebu, the chief has offered land in his place for those who want to, come and live with them in that community. And for some of them, that is even a way of inviting, investment in their communities for those who are coming in to come and live with them.
Absolutely.
So it is never a government program to offer lands for those who are coming into the country. It has never been, not as far as I'm aware, but rather encouraging it by making sure that the traditional leaders can make this accessible, make it happen for those who are keen to take it.
Brilliant point. Thanks for that. I really appreciate that response. Again, in the spirit of reconciliation and healing, would you think it would be fair to ask for tax rebates for African Americans who are returning home to invest, just to show that type of gesture, if nothing of that sort is already in place?
I think GIPC is working on an investment code that would deal with this aspect of what you have just mentioned. But quite apart from that, I think once the initiative to get people to become Ghanaians is all a long way, in a way going to deal with the same issues that whatever is available to the Ghanaian is also going to be available to the person in terms of, cost of doing business in Ghana.
Right.
So that is another way of, dealing with it. But yes, if you want to do it and get it right from the start, there are some, investment opportunities that the GIPC is best, to deal with and to talk about in terms of how they can make it attractive for the diaspora community.
Thank you. You said GIPC I know it's an acronym for those who don't know, including myself. What does it stand for?
That is the Ghana Investment Promotion Center.
Got you. Got it.
Yeah.
And the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, do they occasionally organize events in the diaspora to attract foreign investors, including the diaspora communities?
Hello?
Yes. I'm asking, the GIPC, do they take initiatives and organize events in the diaspora to attract foreigners or foreign investors to Ghana? Are there programs like that currently ongoing?
Oh yes, certainly. I think we have been working together, and I think somewhere last year there was a roadshow in the US that involved the GIPC and the Diaspora Affairs and the Diaspora Affairs at the Foreign Office, coming around to America to inform people about some of these initiatives and some of these opportunities. So there are programs like that from time to time, major investment, programs and investment forums all over.
Is there anyone coming up somewhere in the US that people may be aware of or should be aware of? Okay,
Hello?
Yes, I think we lost him for a second, but I was asking the GIP.
Both investment programs in and outside Ghana are all the time being undertaken by GIPC to highlight and to let people know about the opportunities that there are.
Yes, thank you for. I think we heard that, but my follow-up question is that are there any ongoing or upcoming investment forums, let's say in the US, that perhaps we should be aware of? People might like to attend and see what could be a potential.
I think this Black History Month presents opportunities for some immediate, programs that are being, that involves the Diaspora Affairs Office of the President, GTA, and there's so many other, GIPC themselves. So, for instance, in Ohio, there's going to be this program that, would have, some economic and socio-economic development programs and investment as well, but essentially to celebrate the Black History Festival. So, quite apart from that, the GTA and it's also through the Beyond the Written Secretariat is organizing a program with Columbia University to also talk about some of these same sort of economic and socio economic activities that can be undertaken, that initiatives and the collaborations that can take place. I think we are also working through the foreign embassies and consulates all the time throughout the years to also give opportunities for people to make inquiries regarding opportunities for investment, etc., etc. I think if there's any major investment programs, we will be making them known as early as possible through the media to let you be also aware that yes, this is happening.
Okay. Yes, please keep us informed so we can let our folks out here be in tuned. And we appreciate that. I guess my follow-up question to that is, in Ghana, I know this probably has not been done yet because I've lived my whole life in Ghana. Having been in America for so long, I have seen the power and the impacts and the inspiration in celebrating Black History Month year after year. As an African, it's giving me the opportunity to learn.
I lost you.
I'm sorry. Okay, it looks like we have a glitch again. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Sorry, I lost you.
Yes, I think I'm trying to connect with you as well. Today is the day that we have to struggle with internet, but we'll see if we can take a short break. When we come back, the show continues beyond the return 2020 recap with Mr. Akwasi Ababio, who is the director of diaspora affairs at the president's office in Ghana. Dallas, can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay.
All right, great. The question that I was asking earlier is, I have seen the impact, having lived here for some time in Chicago. I, as an African, been impacted so
You
much.
have seen?
I've been impacted so much by celebrating Black History Month, right? Because it allows me, or just getting me to understand the history of African Americans, their contribution to this great nation and to the entire world. Now, do you think that this can be an initiative that will be inculcated within the diaspora office, so that every month Ghanaians can organize something in conjunction with Black History Month to help educate ourselves about both communities, the continental Africans and African Americans?
I think through the Black History Month, yes, there are plans to make sure that these events, these programs do not only happen in February, which is the Black History Month, but there can be continuity and then spread out throughout the year.
Okay.
The organizers are trying as hard as possible to do this. And I think the office itself is also trying to see how it can have its own programs to enable us to do this. Previous to this, we have always had the homecoming initiative, which was also an opportunity to meet in Ghana to deliberate over issues that pertain to the diaspora. We are looking to see how funding can be made available to enable us to do this. After that break, COVID break, when we had it last time in 2019, it was supposed to have been another every 2 years, 2021. But, here we are, 2023, and we are planning to see how it can be done again.
Dallas, I think that you have been great this evening, giving us insight to your office, some of the things that you're doing, because I didn't know that you actually had this initiative ongoing, which is very powerful. Having a monthly or a year-round Black History Month type of education, conjunction with African history, to educate Ghanaians and Africans as a whole about our connection and our history is very motivating. We are looking forward to learning more about that, and I think I would like to work with you as these programs go on. We would like to carry it here, and so that we can both educate ourselves. So,
certainly, we'll be happy for you to be an extended arm to get the community informed and to get them, whipped up for these programs.
Brilliant. So as we bring the show to an end, getting close to it, we have had a beautiful year of return, 2022. How's the future looking like for the year, for the Beyond the Return office, for your office, and for?
I think it is quite obvious that we are going to have more of the same, but it's also important that the emphasis be more about the legacies that we can leave behind, as we celebrate and as we, undergo every Beyond the Return year. I think it's the private sector, as I've said, is beginning to take ownership of this, initiative, and they are doing everything to fulfill the government's policy and government agenda of mobilizing and engaging the diaspora. I think it's also important to also, acknowledge the fact that the diaspora communities are initiating the programs even from the diaspora and bringing them to Ghana, as per what, say, Chance the Rapper did. We know McMiles is trying to do something on his own to make sure that he can come back and, also have a splash or some big, contributions in Ghana. Just as you mentioned, Idris Elba is also in the process of doing something. So there are so many initiatives that are going on that is basically consolidating the gains that we have made in the year of return and the beyond the return.
Yeah.
And there are also, people here who have gathered to also make sure that they have a group that would work towards something that they are calling the beyond the party. Beyond the party, after all the party, what is there that we are going to be living to as legacies and as things to point to? And these are all working nicely together, and therefore I'm excited that especially with the having taken the ownership up to themselves. I mean, for themselves, for people to be doing whatever they are doing, that is really augurs well for the country and for the beyond the return and beyond the homecoming.
Beyond the party. I think I like it, and I'm looking forward to working with them and introducing them to the diaspora community here. It'll be very powerful to engage with them. I like that, beyond the party. Dallas, we've had a great conversation so far, and I appreciate your time. Again, but lastly, what are some of the needs of your office? Because we know budget is always an issue, but how would you want people in the diaspora, if they want to support your office in achieving your goals and helping bridge the gap that has been initiated, what would those needs be, or what are those needs?
I think at the top of my head, what we actually want to do is to, get people to know more about the office, which is certainly going to be helpful with media houses like yourself and others who are also looking to play a part in the execution of our agenda. So that is a very welcome thing that we require yours and others to be doing for us, to really help us to put our messages and our programs and all the things that we do to the public, to engage the diaspora, especially as we embark on initiatives about registering Ghanaians in the diaspora, etc., and getting the people, informed about the investment opportunities. So together with GIPC and other government organizations, the programs that we have all been embarking on, we would want as many of them to be, and spread as much as possible by organizations like yours. And that is very, very useful, because it is in most cases, it is when we are able to perform or undertake things in the diaspora, engage the diaspora in the host countries. That is what really triggers the homeward journey of people coming to Ghana.
Yes.
And that is something that we would need facilitation from us.
Okay.
As often as possible. The more we are able to engage the diaspora, the more they will find time to come to Ghana. It is something that we want to do.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think that we have talked about almost everything, but lastly, are there any programs that your office has initiated, or some of your responsibilities as the head of the diaspora that you didn't get a chance to alert the community on this show? If so, please go ahead and let us know about it. Okay. What I'm asking is, can you hear me now?
Sorry.
Yeah. I think one of the needs of the diaspora would be helping to increase their internet. No, that's a that's a joke. I'm just kidding. But can you hear me now, Dallas?
Yes, I can now.
I guess my question is that you've said a lot this evening, and we appreciate your time. But are there any other programs or responsibilities of your office that we didn't get a chance to say? If so, please let us know about it.
Okay, I think again, I come back to that capacity building of that office and all the diaspora engagement programs. At the moment, even though we have been saying so much about diaspora engagement in Ghana, we still do not officially have a diaspora engagement policy in place.
So we are working hard to make sure that that diaspora engagement policy can be passed. As I speak to you, Her Excellency, Her Honorable, our Honorable Minister in charge of the Foreign Affairs has signed a document for it to go to Cabinet. That document will be discussed and then officially, assented to as a policy of government, which would clearly spell out, the various roles and the framework from which the executing agencies will have to vigorously pursue this diaspora engagement. We're asking for support in this direction. Once the policy is passed, there will be so many roadworks that have to be undertaken, both in Ghana and outside Ghana, to engage the diaspora, to sensitize the diaspora, to sensitize Ghanaians. The orientation that I mentioned of how best we can have all those places, all those facilities in place to enable this to happen is all very much, something that we would get people to help us in trying to do. So that is our basic, appeal for people to also look for the opportunities to see how they can come in and help us to execute this agenda.
Awesome, great. This movement, and I know I keep saying last questions, but it's very important that we get this. We don't always get you, and so we'll try and get these questions out quickly, and then
I think now I can try and make myself available as often as possible, which is one of my requests.
Awesome. Yes, we'll work towards that. We'll make it happen, so our people can hear from you often. That would be great. This is a powerful movement for Ghana and sub-Saharan Africa, and of course the entire continent. What do you foresee being a challenge in stopping this movement, if at all?
I think what would be I think we need continuity in some of the things that we have to do. That other than the continuity, we need a framework that would enable continuity to be, had, irrespective of what government is in place. And that is something that we have to think about. So this is why, through that, diaspora engagement policy, we think that there should be that, institutionalized framework to enable things to happen. Post any changes, any reshuffles, any whatever. Irrespective, that should happen, and that is something that we dearly want to have in place.
Brilliant. The connection of the two worlds is very powerful. In your estimation, how significant is it for Black people globally? More importantly, diasporans, African Americans, Caribbeans, coming back home to be parts of the development of Ghana and Africa. In your estimation, how urgent is this, or how significant is this?
I think it is being driven essentially, the agency for whatever needs to be done is being driven by the diasporans themselves. Their keenness and their preparedness to get involved in what we are doing is something that is very encouraging. I think what we also need to do is to accept those responsibilities and those challenges that they come with. So, for instance, in terms of rights and obligations of being a dual citizenship, having a dual citizenship, how do we work to facilitate, to really make people at ease with this sort of arrangement?
Right.
Because almost everyone who is looking to come to Ghana or to become a Ghanaian is not looking to perhaps forgo their citizenship in other places that they belong, and that in this modern era of global world, people are looking to have that facility to enable them to live or to engage in a number of countries other than Ghana. And we should be looking to see how, as a government, as people, we would basically facilitate that and make sure that the rights and privileges that exist for every Ghanaian is equally available to those who are coming to take up our citizenship.
Very powerful, very, very powerful. Before you took, and I really appreciate it, Dallas, before you took this office, you were, correct me if I'm wrong, an engineer. You were very successful in your career in Europe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What makes you love doing what you do now?
I think in a way, I started doing this when perhaps even as I was living and working in the UK, and I had the opportunity to be a consultant in several, European countries, and I was engaging the Ghanaians, everywhere I went. So, for instance, I worked in Switzerland, and I was in the Ghanaian community. And thereafter, I had the opportunity to work in Sweden, and I was in the Ghanaian community. And then I had the opportunity Norway and Denmark and that, the Scandinavian countries, and basically, working with the diaspora community in several ways has, always been of interest to me. And I'm not surprised I've ended up, doing it more formally, like what I'm doing right now.
Right.
And I've got so many colleagues who, interestingly, are, doing fantastically in the US. So when I come to the US too, that is another sort of area where I feel most comfortable. I can tell you about how the friends that I have in Chicago, who are very, very dear to me, and now we all look forward to engage, sooner than later as the opportunity arrives.
Absolutely. I had one of your friends call me. He says he's one of your classmates back in the years, Mr. Berk Wakoto.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We've been good friends for a long time, and we were together in the same school for all those years. Been through the struggles, all those times together, and the fun times as well, in sport and in everything.
Fun times. Yes, I know we appreciate it so much. You talked about how you used to interact with Ghanaians while you were working in the UK. I guess my question is, did you also have the opportunity, or were you keen in getting to know the I'll say Black Americans, Black Europeans, let's say Blacks in the UK, Blacks in maybe Australia? Even Caribbeans in Australia. Were you keen on Caribbeans in the UK? Were you keen on getting to know their plight, the historical history when it comes to slavery and how it connects to us? Were you doing that, or you are now getting to know more about it because of the?
I think, to be very fair, I'm getting to know more about the aspect of life in general.
Yeah.
But to be also fair to myself, I believe as early as possible, when I was made the director of the Diaspora, I immediately started looking for the stakeholders, the major players, as far as the Ghanaian diaspora community is concerned, to bring them on board. I remember it was the first time we were having the homecoming, and basically every homecoming previously had all been about the Ghanaian diaspora, and not necessarily the diaspora as we talk about, which involves the African Americans and the historical African. So I made sure that they were brought on board as early as possible for that homecoming, in 2017, and subsequently we have been making sure that they are part and parcel of every diaspora initiatives that we undertake. And I also made sure that the diaspora engagement policy was, re-examined to see how it can fully accommodate and make room for that diaspora community. So yes, within a short time that I've been dealing with them, I've had the opportunity of meeting so many interesting people, and
I think we have a caller. I think we have a caller on the line. Hello.
Hello.
I'll let you finish that thought, Dallas. I'll let you hold on. Yes, can you please go ahead? Your name and why you're calling.
My name is Bekwakoto, the journalist, and of course Dallas is my classmate and my brother. So I'm just calling to wish him well, and also to let him know that he's presented himself very well. Alinko, you know.
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear him?
We lost again.
Dallas.
Dallas, can you hear me?
We've been having some glitches the whole time, Mr. Berko. But Dallas, can you hear him?
Yes, I think I heard him. That's Akoto Berko, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, my brother.
Thank you. Hi. It's good to hear from you. I know when it's Chicago, it has to be about,
Oh, well, of course. I mean, I've been trying, to tell the people that, you have to come here because, I tried during the Ghana Fest maybe 2 or 3 times, but you are so busy. I'm even surprised.
Yes, as soon as the opportunity avails itself, I think I will readily, jump on board and come and be part of what, you guys are doing in Chicago. The Windy City will one day find me there, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yes. And
I look forward to that. We work on that.
Aliko is just like, Sam, and I mean, we just lost a good friend in Sam Young, which you, Dallas, remember Sam Young from the 4th dimension, when we were at Awua. Okay. So, Alinko also lost like a father, right?
Yes. Sam Young was like a father to me, to be honest. He called me his son.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to pick my call. I've been calling for 1 hour and nobody was picking up.
Oh,
but, I'm glad that you've been able, to give my brother, like the audience. He's the guy, the diaspora guy.
Great. That's nice to hear from you.
Yes. If anybody needs anything, you go through my brother at Jubilee House.
Sorry, we lost him again.
In at Awua, we had some numbers. Since we are classmates, his number was H34. My number was H40. Don't think we are prisoners or anything. It's just but he's a brother.
Yeah, that was very close. Yeah.
And thank you so much for giving me this audience, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Berko. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, Berko, for calling. Yeah.
Well, thank you once again, Berko, for ringing in. Anyone wants to? So we have a few minutes for him to sign out. The next on the show is Angela Clay, who is running for alderperson in the 46th ward. 46th ward. She'll be on the show right after Dallas leaves, and we will work towards getting Dallas back on the show. But before we go, a few comments that have come through. Lee Laser says, it's a great initiative. I visited Ghana because of the year of return, and it was worth it. Thank you so much for your contribution. Coy Pugh says, the need for some sort of enculturation program is needed. Enculturation program is needed, absolutely. And I think Dallas mentioned it. Happy Sunday to you all. This is from John. John, thank you. We appreciate your time. Nicosia says, great question, Alinko. And thank you all for your contribution so far. We are about to end the show this evening. And so, Dallas, as you were interacting with these celebrities, African-American celebrities who are coming down, you were talking about what you were learning about them, but so please finish the statement you were started with by what you've learned about them, and what are some of the things that they are sharing with you. You don't have to share with me, but how are the things that they are sharing with you opening your eyes to the plight of the African Americans over the year and the need for us as Africans to embrace them with love and restore them to the land?
I think every now and on every occasion of citizenship awards, they couldn't but help to make that comment that we are not just giving them citizenship, but we are restoring the citizenship that they lost through their, forefathers, the great descendants long ago. So that, for me, is something they've been sharing with me for me to have an insight into how they feel when they are relating back to Ghana. And that is something that is very important for us to know that, just like I always look, for instance, I've got my kids and family living outside of Ghana.
Right.
And I believe some years down the line, they might equally be feeling the same way if they don't, relate to Ghana for over so many years as they lost that relationship with Ghana through that slavery. So I can see and share in that view of how they feel about, coming back and relating to Ghana and their keenness and the excitement when it is actually made to happen for them. And that is something that is it's very, very interesting to know that people are not just relating because of the color, but they are relating because they indeed were related,
Wow. Thank you. We really, truly appreciate it. We want to, it's 5:30 p.m. and we've had a great conversation so far in spite of the little glitches here and there. Dallas, we are looking forward to hosting you here again. But before you leave us, I know it's almost midnight in Ghana. Please give us your closing remarks, and as we work towards engaging you in the future. I know you're coming to Ohio sometime this month, and so
yes, I think so. Yes, most likely I should be in Ohio, towards the end of the middle of this month.
Okay.
And yes, we will see what we can do whilst we are in the US.
Okay, and it's all
this is Black History Festival that is to happen in Ohio, Columbus, which we want to be part of, which is going to help us also push that same agenda that we've been pushing all throughout, to engage the diaspora, to highlight on the things that make us proud as a nation, as Black people, and as to drum home the point of making Ghana the maker for the Black community to come to Ghana. So we are going to be, by that initiative also maintain the steady flow of people coming to Ghana every now and then when, we open up and, of course we are open not just 24 by 7, but 365, 366 in a year. So Ghana is very, very open, and we are doing everything possible to make sure that those who are coming will not just come for Christmas, but come throughout the year. And that when they come to Ghana, we will make sure that they don't just confine themselves to the Ghana, to the Accra Cape Coast corridor, but they extend their, programs and activities all over the country for them to have a real feel of the country. So I'm glad that Idris Elba has come and made his way all the way to the Ashanti region to be part of that Ojura festival. And I suppose there are some programs, interesting programs that are also taking place in the northern part of Ghana that we will want people to come and make their way all the way to the north to be part of it. And that's basically opening up the country to, those who are coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dallas. We really appreciate your time on the show this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We hope
I appreciate all your viewers and the time that they have also spent listening to what we have to tell them.
Absolutely. And we look forward to engaging you again. All right, Dallas, have a wonderful evening. Enjoy a very restful night after engaging us. There was Dallas. We have.
Thank you, Alinko.
You're welcome. Well, Dallas, before you leave, this is a good way of introducing one of our own. Angela, this is the director for Diaspora Affairs in Ghana at the President's Office. I don't know if you tuned in, but if you ever go to Ghana and you want citizenship or residence permits or anything that pertaining to your stay there, this is your man.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction. I will definitely be tapping into that resource. I cannot wait.
Thank you, Angela. We will lay a red carpet for you.
Thank you.
Promise and everyone meeting you at the airport. Come over.
And then Dallas, Angela is running for office to be in Ghana. I think the equivalent of the office she's running for will be, I think assemblyman or district. What's the title for whoever is a district officer in Ghana? But anyway, she's running for the alderman office here in Chicago.
Oh wow!
Right. So if when or if she gets there, hopefully when you are in Chicago and you happen to go to the 46th ward, which is a very important place in Chicago. Actually, 46th ward they say is like the United Nations of Chicago. We have all types of
That's bravery.
heavy Ghanaian.
I wish you all the best. I hope everything goes well for you and that you get into that office so that we can have that cooperation, that sister relationship between Chicago and some part of Ghana.
Yes,
town. Yeah, we will do that. We will work towards that. So fingers crossed.
All right.
Wish you all the best.
Take care. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
So, listeners, you just heard Dallas, director for the office of the director for Diaspora office in the president's I'm sorry, it's been a long evening. He is the director of the Diaspora affairs at the president's office in Ghana. That's it. And we appreciate your stay so far. Next on the show is Angela Clay. She is running for 46th Ward. Angela, you're welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so amazing to be amongst great neighbors and good people. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
We are glad you made it. And it's 5:35, and we'll try and get as much as you have for your ward before our time, right? And so we would like to know a bit about who you are. This is the first time on this platform. This is where we build our community. And actually, this show was birthed in the 46th ward. Okay, right on top of the alderman's office, James Kappelman. Okay, and I was telling you when we talked before the show that we first had a festival. We were the first. Okay, whilst I was the manager at WGAC, a radio station belonging to the Ghanaian community, which is no more, I led a team that had our first ever African Unity Festival between Broadway and Wilson, and was very, very successful. We made history. And so the journey of the Progressive Mind started from there. And we are here now, and we are glad that you, as a citizen or a resident of Uptown area, is running for that office, and you were here on the show to sell your message. And so welcome once again. It's an honor to have you.
Yes, thank you so much again for giving me this platform. This is truly, amongst great, I would say, sisters and brothers. I am a beautiful product of the 46th Ward. So I have been amongst my Nigerian, Ghanaian sisters and brothers my entire life. I joke and say that I've been eating fufu since I was 2, but it's the God's honest truth. I had the great opportunity to grow up in such a vibrant and diverse part of the city that a lot of people may or may not know about. So the 46th Ward is home to over 40 different languages spoken just within our ward. We go from just past Addison all the way before you get to Argyle, and as far west as Clark Street, down Irving Park, we actually go to Ashland. So this is going to be a historic opportunity to have a elected representative from our community actually represent us in city council. There has never been a person of color to represent the most diverse ward in the entire city of Chicago. Until now, we are actually making history during Black History Month. So I am a born product of everything that the 46th Ward stands on. I grew up in affordable housing on Hazel and Sunnyside. I went to our public schools, Joseph Brenneman, where I currently sit on the local school Council, and I graduated from Uplift, which was the former Joan F. Arai that I'm sure plenty of callers on here remember or even attended. And I had the great opportunity to live in a diverse community where I was a walk away from the lakefront. I was also a walk away from our beautiful public transportation. And I got a chance to travel all around the country and the world just due to great teachers, great neighbors in this ward. So we are doing it. We have an immense momentum right now to be that United Nations that we are as a ward and be properly represented in city council. So I am running to make sure that we are protected, that we remain diverse and resourceful to all of our neighbors here.
Great. Thank you for a great intro, Angela. Have you always lived in Chicago?
Oh, baby. I've basically always lived in Chicago. Yeah, I did a small stint where my family lived in Arizona, which was a huge culture shock. But yeah, Chicago's always been my home.
All right. And so you're saying your family is in Ohio, but you're basically the only one here. I'm just trying to get the understanding.
Yeah, no, we're here. So my whole entire family has lived in the 46th ward for over 80 years. My great grandmother actually brought us to Uptown Buena Park before I was even thought of. So our roots in this ward go extremely deep. And I just became a mom at the beginning of COVID. So I am raising a fifth generation Uptownian right here.
Brilliant. And have you always been a student of social activism?
Oh yeah, if you live in the 46th ward, it is just basically in your blood. It is in your blood to stand up on the right side of justice. I've been pulled to rallies and marches since before I could properly put together a sentence. I started organizing right here when I was 14 years old with an organization called the Organization of the Northeast, which is now One North Side, around the school dropout rate in Chicago public schools. So that was my first taste of what effective organizing was at a super young age. And then I went on to become the youngest president of a 51-year-old non-for-profit called Voice of the People, which provides and protects affordable housing to our neighbors right here in this ward. So yeah, you know, when you grow up in such a progressive, involved community, you really don't have an option but to be a student of progress. So yeah, this has been my entire life.
What's so special about the Uptown area that seems to be always evolving or seems to be always growing activists such as you, per what you just said?
Yeah, so Uptown is extremely
Would you say a
it is
political
extremely
community?
needed. It not only is it political, they are involved, they are hands-on. So just for instance, during the pandemic, a lot of our neighbors, especially our elders, were unable to get access to fresh groceries, to get access to PPE supplies. And so what did we do? We rose to the occasion. We didn't wait on the government or the, you know, the powers that be to come in and help our neighbors. We did it ourselves. So I am with the organization called a Northside Action for Justice, and we took it upon ourselves to link with another organization called Food Not Bombs. And every Wednesday we do mutual aid, which is we pull up with a truck full of fresh produce, PPE supplies, you name it, and we spread it out for the community to take free of charge. We've done this for over a year now, and that really shows you how forward thinking we are and how we rise to the occasion when there is something in need for our neighbors. So when we are thinking about the longevity of this ward, we really want to be thinking about how are we protecting each other? How are we working amongst each other to make things happen for the best of us? So the 46th ward is super special because I tell people if it happens in our ward, oh, trust it can happen anywhere in the city. So we have to be the ones to come up with the solutions and not wait on somebody to come in and save us.
Yeah. No, thank you for saying that. And I must say that in my earlier submission, when I was talking about hosting, leading a team that hosted the first African Unity Festival on Wilson and Broadway. I must really give a lot of credit to the current alderman, James Kappelman. He supported and played a very significant role in getting out the permits and making sure that that was done. So really want to give him kudos. What would you say now? Would you say that in recent years, you will be, if you get to be in that office, would you be the first lady or second woman running for? I mean, getting that position.
Yeah, the second woman, the first woman of color. It is going to be a historic election, like I said, being that we are the most diverse ward in the entire city of Chicago, in some parts of the country. The time has come. The time has come for us to have proper representation of that diversity. It's also time to come and be that bridge builder between so many diverse communities, right? We really have an opportunity to have a leader that comes from our community and also has knowledge of all of the intimate details it takes to get this job done. An older person has to be that person to go to bat for you when you feel strongly about bringing something cultural to our community. I want to be that voice. I want to be that bridge builder. So yeah, this is going to be a historic election in that aspect. Second woman, the first woman was Alderman Helen Schiller. She was in office for 24 years, and we've had the amazing opportunity to actually get her endorsement of our campaign.
Talking about endorsements, who else, if you want to share?
Oh, okay. Let me get the list out for you. Okay, we have the Chicago Teachers Union. We have the Illinois Nurses Association. We have the Asian American Midwest Progressives, One Northside, Northside Action for Justice, United Working Families, Alderperson Carlos Ramirez Rosa, and also Alderperson Matt Martin, which is just our neighboring alderman to the west of us. We have the Girl I Guess Voters Guide, which is an amazing progressive voter guide for folks looking into which candidates they should support. We have the Democratic Socialist of America endorsement. We have the Sierra Club endorsement. So a longtime environmentalist group that has been fighting all across this country is stomping with us. We have Better Street Chicago. We have the Sunrise Movement. Oh, I hope I'm not leaving anybody out because they have continuously come in just like a flow. And they've all come with hard work. All of these endorsements have come with us proving ourselves to these amazing people who have been doing this work. They also have come with us continuously building relationships with people who are in these spaces, again, doing the work on behalf of all of our neighbors. So our endorsements truly mean the world to us because they come from the people who have the boots on the ground.
Right. No, thanks for sharing. And did you say earlier that the Teachers Union or something?
Yeah, Chicago Teachers Union. Also, the Cook County College Teachers Union, which is the Cook County colleges of our ward.
Oh, wow. Thanks. And one of the challenges of that area, the Uptown area, has been crime. Okay, gun violence and crime. And I know there are certain streets that certain people cannot cross to, and their boundaries and all of that. Even though it's a very thriving community, we're seeing a lot of development. We'll talk about actually all these cranes in the air and all these developments, housing development, and both housing and commercial development in that area. But I want us to talk about crime. I recall somewhere, I think 2018 or 19 thereabout, a Ghanaian among other crimes that were committed, a Ghanaian was shot and killed. A Ghanaian American, first generation Ghanaian American, was shot and killed in the area. I actually know his father, Mr. Yeboah. I used to go to Akwasi Yeboah. I used to go to church with him. I haven't heard of him in a long time. But these and more are some of the examples that we've seen as being a crime issue in that area. Of course, times have changed. Has it gotten better? If not, what are you doing about it? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, no, it has absolutely gotten better. And I think a lot of that has to go to the relationships again that we have in this ward. Because crime has been an issue where it really deals with poverty, right? A lot of the young men who are taking part in this activity have come from underinvested communities. The 46th ward has not always been the abundance and beacon of light that we have right now. It was at one point one of the communities that was getting burned down. Landlords were actually burning their buildings down with residents in them to collect the insurance money, right? So we have created an ecosystem of disinvestment that has basically led to the crime that we see, not just here in the 46th ward, but all across the city. Our young people are experiencing extreme trauma and it's going untreated. They are living in generational poverty where they may come from families who have been impoverished for decades. Our schools are not giving them the safe spaces to be themselves because they're just there until the bell rings out and then they have an entire evening left to fend for themselves. So it is one definitely gotten better because the relationships that we have in this ward have stepped in and talked to certain groups and said, hey, we're in this together. We need to work together to keep our community safe and our streets safe as well. Secondly, when we are thinking about crime, we need to be thinking about how are we preventing it. You know, a lot of the tactics that we're using right now are just reactionary and they are just after the fact. But there are things that we could be doing to prevent crime, such as one of my really big initiatives that I want to push is I want to push for a mentorship program with young people in our ward with small business owners. I think that that would be an amazing curb to violence because it will, one, give them gainful employment, right? It will also teach them the ins and outs of what it takes to actually grow a business. It takes blood, sweat, and tears to create something from the ground up. And a lot of them want to be entrepreneurs, but they've never had the opportunity to see it firsthand. I also want to put more money into our mental health services. We all just went through a pandemic together where a lot of us who are coming out of it are still experiencing some mental health issues. Unfortunately, the city of Chicago closed down all of our mental health institutions. So when you try to go and talk to somebody, such as a therapist, the wait list is 6 months minimum, right? And there's so much that can happen in that time span where it may or may not lead to crime. So I want to make sure that as an older person that I am fighting for everyone in our ward to keep them safe, not just on a public safety level, but on a communal level, on a health level. They need access to great health care to be their best selves so that they don't have to go to a form of crime. We have an opportunity at our fingertips to pass an ordinance called Treatment Not Trauma, which would send a mental health professional to a mental health crisis so that they are met with the resources that they need instead of just our approach to lock them up, put them in a cell. uh, our jails are overflowing because we don't have enough housing for young people, for people with mental health issues. They just throw them to the wayside. Our public transportation right now has turned into a mental health hospital. When people are thinking about it's unsafe on the red line, that's because we're not housing people at the rate that we should be housing them, and they're using our public transportation as a mental health hospital or as a shelter bed, right? So when we're thinking about community safety and I'm in conversations with neighbors all across this ward, we really are thinking about taking a holistic approach to how we are addressing public safety and how we could be working together to create those resources for folks. So public safety is top one concern on mine. Oh, you dropped your stick. Sorry. You say hi.
Hello.
We broke our breadstick.
Okay. What's her name?
Sage.
Sage.
You say hi? Yeah. The queen of the castle.
Okay. Sage just joined us on the show. So if you watch a progressive mind, Sage has a message for you. Sage is definitely supporting her mom to run for this office, and I'm sure she's campaigning for you.
Well, she comes with bearing treats as well.
Okay. There you go. So one day, she will tell the story how she campaigned for her mom on a live show when she was running for office. That is
That's
so beautiful.
love it.
How old is Sage?
Oh, baby, she is 2. She will be 3 at the end of April. So
Okay.
fast. When we first started this, it was at the height of the pandemic and everything just felt so uncertain. And now time is just ramping up, and I can't believe I have an almost 3-year-old.
Right. And people will say that part of what adults do and what you're doing is to be in that office so you can make your community better for young ones like Sage. So when they grow up, they find it a bit much better than you found it, right?
Absolutely. That's the overarching goal of all of this work is to
That is the motivation behind the action.
that's it. Is what are we leaving to our babies? What are
Yes.
we leaving to our young people?
Mm, Powerfully said. Thank you so much. It's 5:54 p.m. Central. You're watching the Progressive Mind Show. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and currently on Twitter as well. We are going to be wrapping the conversation up in a little bit. We want to appreciate all our audience that have been part of the of the show this evening. Earlier on, we had Dallas, director for Diaspora Affairs in Ghana, and I think because we have experienced a bit of technical challenges this evening, so I wasn't able to see everybody that joined the feed. Some of your comments I did not even see. Someone like Vicky Casanova Willis, she was on the show. I'm not sure if she's currently on because I now see her because I'm using my other device. And Fido Microloan, I think all the way in Ghana, also passed the comment that was missed. And Naila has been on the show as well. Thank you, Naila, for being part of the show so far and helping with all that you do. Fred Klaus is also here. He says, I'm a business owner established in 86th and 86th. Is that 46th that you meant to say? But because I see 86, Fred. And inflation shut me down with pandemic. Sorry to hear that, Fred. Hopefully things get better. My Excel bill went from 220 to almost 600. Again, very sorry to hear that, Fred. And Naila says, "Oh, hi, baby." I think our audience, some of our audience are in love with Sage already. We don't know if she's going to follow mom's footsteps in being a social and community activist, or she probably might end up being a doctor or engineer or something.
I'll take either one. You can't lose with either one.
Absolutely, or end up being a president.
Let's go.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for sharing your aspirations with that. You told us some of the challenges, and but what would be the first thing that Angela would want to tackle? Uh, what were the things that Angela would like to tackle on day one?
Day one is making sure that we are having conversations with each other. I want to really build a strong communal network where we know who our neighbors are, where we are in contact with each other, where we are talking to the small business owners in our ward. A lot of this work is multi-layered, right? So there has to be groundwork that is put in before we can even start tackling things such as zoning, affordable housing. The root of all of that is just, do you know your neighbors, right? Are you in constant conversation about the changes and the challenges that we are facing, and are you coming to the table with some great ideas? So day one is just making sure that I am thanking neighbors for getting us in this seat and that we are in constant communication with each other. I really want to do community dinners. I think community dinners are an amazing idea that would benefit so many neighbors, not just from them getting a healthy or nutritious meal, but also being at the table with neighbors that they may or may not have had the opportunity to speak to otherwise. A lot of us walk past each other every day and we just don't know what's going on in each other's lives. And we really are tackling some of the same things. So I want to bring community dinners back. And then from there, I want us to revamp how we are making decisions about our business, school. Those are some of the things I'm really making making sure that we do so that families can continue to live and raise families here. Make sure that we are building those resources for our young people to feel safe here in our, and then becoming the best community we can be with small business owners coming and retaining their businesses right here in the 46th Ward.
Thanks for eloquently laying that out. Even though we had a few glitches while in your delivery, I think the message is clear. How has the support of the millennials been so far in your campaign, and how significant is their involvement in this era? Because a lot of millennials just want to stay on the edge. They don't want to be involved. There's a lack of empathy or enthusiasm for politics, but it is the most important aspect in our existence. So you want to respond to that?
Yeah, no, I think the millennials have definitely come and stomped for us. I feel you wholeheartedly when you say they have been untapped to, and I think that's on purpose. I feel like millennials come with their eyes wide open and they ask a lot of questions, which I love, because if you're going to make a genuine decision about who's going to represent you for the next 4 years, you better make sure that they are checking all of the boxes that you need them to represent. So the millennials have come through. They are phone banking for us. They are volunteering for our campaign. They are on my kitchen cabinet, as I say, because I want to make sure that we have their input. Look, 10 years from now is not a long time. And as a millennial, we'll be in a different space. And we need to make sure that we are preparing them from that. Politics, what I feel like they've tried to speak over our heads. They've tried to make it seem like it's something that we don't understand, that just for me and I'll do it. But no, I want to make sure I'm coming back and being transparent with all of our residents, especially they can do this too. This isn't a job that they're not in. This is something that they need to be directly involved in, because they're the ones that are pushing the needle. When millennials don't come out, that's when we get people in office who don't properly represent us for 4 years. So this is the time to put your money where your mouth is and feel good about your vote.
Exactly, because millennials complain a lot. Not just complain because they want to, but they have opinion. They're very opinionated. They're very informed because of our age. But you just can't talk about the situation if you're not involved. Be the change that you want to see, and that's what I believe in strongly. And so, thanks for clarifying or responding to that. You could have ventured in any career. This is America. There are a ton of opportunities. What makes you want to run for office? Well, what makes you want to be a politician? Um, is there anybody in the family that motivated you? Did you get it while you were growing up?
Not necessarily a politician. I just have always been surrounded by amazing shakers and movers, right?
Okay.
My family has been instrumental in teaching me that I could truly be anything that I put my mind to. And it's something that I stress to my baby every single day, even if she doesn't comprehend it fully now. What motivated me to even get in this seat wasn't my ego. It wasn't something that I had aspired to be my whole life. At one point when I started college, I thought that I wanted to be a lawyer, but I'm not a good liar. So I ventured very far off from that. But when I found public policy, which was the degree that I studied at DePaul, it felt like I was talking to myself. It felt like I was reading a book about our inner city youth growing up in turbulent times without the best resources and still rising out of the ashes like a phoenix. And when I started to question, well, how are we impacting this? What are we doing to help them? It all came back to politics. It all came back to, who do you have representing you? Who are making these decisions on how much money will go to these institutions? Or it all came back to politics. So 4 years ago, I was working at the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, thinking that, again, this was the career choice that I was making. And my neighbors stepped to me and said, Angela, who are you voting for? And I said, I don't know. I'm just going to have to see. None of the candidates are meeting my criteria. And they said, you should run. And I said, oh, please, no. Politics is a dirty game. I don't think that I'm cut from that cloth. I really am from the people. And they came back to me a week later and they said, Angela, you have to run. You are a product of this beautiful community. You understand the interconnectedness of what we all need. You understand how to get policies actually implemented to positively impact our lives, because some of these policies that are at a city level don't always mean us the best good, right? So we need to make sure that we have somebody who understands the impacts of these policies. And I had no campaign experience, no money, no campaign staff, not even lives. So with that close of a margin, didn't stop doing the work. 4 years again, we have some tremendous momentum. We have some amazing support, and that's really why I'm doing this. Is because people honestly see themselves in our campaign. I reflect. That's why I'm running again, because I have a baby.
We are back, and we apologize for the glitch. Angela, you want to complete your submission, and then we can go to the next question before we wrap up.
Yeah, no, I was just saying I had the real support of the community behind us, and people really see themselves reflected in our campaign. They feel like their concerns and their voices are heard, and they are lifted up, not just heard, but that they are lifted up to the powers that be that need to hear them to make these changes. So 4 years ago, we came within 300 votes of actually making the runoff with no money, no structure, no real help, but good neighbors. This is what politics is about, is good people doing all of this hard work. And it can show you that you can do it without the money, the machine money that we are used to politics being ran on. So it just got better. We had to rise to the occasion during COVID. We've continued to rise to the occasion now, and we're running again. So that's really my neighbors who believe in our mission.
Okay, so this is your second time attempting to run to win the office of the 46th ward.
It is. It is.
All right. So I guess what I wanted to ask is, what are your current challenges, and how are you funding the campaign?
Okay, so our campaign is a grassroots organization, guys. This is all people. We are not taking money from big time developers. We are not taking money from big time corporations. A lot of our money comes from just everyday neighbors giving 20, 50, $100. It has been fueled by the Chicago Teachers Union, the Illinois Nurses Association, the amazing endorsers that we have, and our neighbors. Look, this is not something, again, that is above us. When we organize each other and we organize our power and our funds, we can raise the same money now. I'm proud to say that we have raised over $120,000 to date. The biggest challenges are always fundraising, you all, because it takes so much money to run a campaign. Just one piece of mail, because I get this question a lot about why does it cost so much to run a campaign? One mailer, which is a piece of mail that you will get with my beautiful face on it, my message as to why I want to be your next alder person, to all of the registered voters in our ward, costs upwards of $10,000
Wow.
for one piece of mail, right? So if I'm going to be consistent and get in front of voters who I can't necessarily knock on their doors because there are tons of high-rise buildings in our ward, I have to mail them. That costs money. So we are being funded by the same people that we are supporting and making sure that we are stomping with. Our biggest challenges is just making sure that people know that we are the viable candidate in this race. Angela Clay is not just a name, it has really turned into a movement where young people, elders, people from all walks of life feel seen and feel heard and feel comfortable with stepping up and telling people about their problems and wanting to help find solutions for other neighbors as well. So
Awesome.
our biggest challenge is just getting our name out there, you all, and building those bridges between different groups of people in our ward. If you have an amazing connection to any of the most diverse communities in our ward, I need your help because I need to get in front of them. I need to translate this message to them so that they also understand how crucial it is to get out and vote. And then I want to invite them again to the table. So that's the biggest struggle that we have right now, is just making sure people know who we are.
Awesome. And two quick questions before we wrap up. Are you ready for the challenges at the city hall? I'm sure you've heard these questions.
As a young African American woman in the city of Chicago, I think I am ready for the city challenges that we face, because these are all of the challenges that we are facing on an everyday level. This is just about us making sure that we're improving it.
So you're ready to, take on the challenges of the city hall and get things done for this great city. I guess my last question to you is, a lot of developments happening right now at the city level. In your community, like in the Uptown area, right? Right by Wilson and Broadway, there was a store. It was, I think it was a wig cosmetic store, right at the corner of Wilson. If you make a right turn, get into it.
City Sports.
Exactly, City Sports, right by Iyanze.
Yep.
And then I think YS Hospital is also expanding, right? The hospital. So one will ask, that area doesn't need any more development, or if there's this much developments going on, there must not be poverty or issue of equity and homelessness. So tell us about it. I mean, there's development, but there's
So the issue when we get really deep into the development of any community is it one going to support the infrastructure of the people who are already there, right? The neighbors who are living in any community that is being developed need to be able to afford the development that is going on around them, or else they are going to be pushed out.
Okay.
Secondly, our community is going through hyper gentrification, which means that we are just building, we are throwing anything up, and we really don't care if you can afford to live here or not. This is just, may the best man win at this point. And what we've seen, like at Weiss Memorial Hospital, they had a surface parking lot that could have been used for a multitude of things: development, communal spaces. It's been used for COVID testing, where you could just pull up and get your test from the comfort of your own car, to apartments, right? But when we are building these units, we are building them without any on-site affordable housing. And if we are building them with on-site affordable housing, it is the bare minimum. There are over 300 units of housing being developed right now on that surface area at Weiss Memorial Hospital, and only 8 out of over 300 units are going to be on-site affordable housing. That is a slap in the face when we are again talking about our houseless neighbors who live right across the street in tents, right? This isn't enough on-site affordable housing for them to even live here. And again, when we are thinking about development, development is great if it is going to come in and support the community that is there and also attract new neighbors to come in. But we can't just throw up development that is studios and one bedrooms, because our community is a community of families. Families are not raising children in studios or one bedrooms. They're barely being able to raise them in two bedrooms. Our current, excuse me, one bedrooms in this ward go for $1,500. That to a working class family raising children in public schools is not suitable. So the development that we are seeing has just been a development that has not taken into account the neighbors that need on-site affordable housing. Affordable housing simply means that you pay 30% of whatever your monthly income is to your highest bill. That I think I can say for all of us is either our rent or our mortgage. That should be affordable to everyone. Instead, we are having neighbors pay upwards of 50 or 60% of their monthly income to their highest bill. So my approach is simple. Yes, let's develop around our community, but let's make sure that the development that we are building incorporates housing for families, right? 2 and 3 bedroom units. And let's make sure that we are building more than just the bare minimum of affordable housing units on site, because then that will trickle over. What we're seeing right now is a lot of our elders are having a very hard time being in this neighborhood and thinking about their longevity because they are on fixed income, social security, pension, and because of the rising rents, they too are being forced with choosing between, do they stay here or do they get priced out? So development without displacement. You always hear me say that. Development without displacement, and it can definitely be done. I have an office in what is the Wilson Yards. It is an amazing project where we we put commercial space units on the ground floor, and on top we put affordable units for families and for elders, right? So we have these examples right here in our backyard that we could be replicating. Again, it just goes down to who do you have in office that's going to push for this to happen?
Wow. Looks like you're ready for this job. You you have given our audience, your community, your followers, and the people that have believed and still believe in you a sense of hope, optimism, and assurance that when you get that office, you will not let them down. At least you have shown that this evening, and you've also shown your enthusiasm and the heart for what you are doing for the community and the office you're running for. Thank you so much, Angela Clay, for coming on the show. We wish you all the best on the Progressive Minds. Before you leave, though, I'd like you to give your last comments and as we bring the show to an end this evening. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you again for opening up your platform. Again, this is a dream come true to be representing my community in a political realm. I have had the amazing honor and privilege of being in this community, and it has literally made me the woman that I am today. You would not have an Angela Clay if there were not for the 46th Ward. I was able to live in an affordable home, go to school at some of the most best and brightest schools that we have to offer in the city of Chicago, use our public transportation to access work all across this city, and waterfront, from the home. So what I am bringing to this table is lived experience. I am also a policy nerd. I have a degree in public policy, so I do know what I am talking about. And last but not least, I am a human. I am empathetic to our neighbors and their situations, and I want to bring that into this political realm. I would truly appreciate all of the support of your listeners to
Before
follow us.
we'll
Oh, I'm
give it a
sorry.
chance. We'll give it a chance to request for their support, but we have a caller in, right? So
Oh,
hold on to
absolutely.
that thought. Yeah, and let's please tell us your name and why you're calling.
My name is Shelby. I live in the 46th ward, and I'm a huge supporter of Angela Clay.
Right.
So I'm very excited to get to talk to you guys tonight.
Well, thank you, Shelby, for ringing in. What makes you want to? How long have you known Shelby, or would you say you just got to know her because she's running for office?
Yeah, I just got to know her because she's running for office, and she has so many endorsements that from people that I trust.
Okay.
So I felt like I needed to get to know her a little bit better, and it's been so great.
You think that the 46th ward needs a change in leadership?
Definitely,
Okay.
yes.
And what makes you
I'm
think?
so excited about the. Hmm?
I'm sorry. What makes you think Angela has those qualities to lead the ward?
Well, I think that the most exciting thing about supporting Angela is that anytime you're around her, people come in and say hello. People on the street will stop and say hello. Everybody knows Angela because she grew up in the ward, and
Mm.
she's been going to or she went to school here, and she's just friends with everyone.
Mm.
And I feel like that's such a refreshing thing. We don't have that with our current alderman, like the friendliness and the warmth. And I just feel like she actually cares about what we need, and she just wants to make this neighborhood the best it can be.
Mm. Mm. Well, thank you. Much appreciate your call. Any other comments before you want to leave tonight?
Yeah, I was gonna ask a question for Angela to speak a little bit too, because I have something that's been on my mind a lot lately is all the empty storefronts. I feel like the neighborhood could be like, one of the next things that could make it so much better is to just fill those storefronts with businesses for, young small business owners, and if there's a plan for that.
Yeah, so small business is literally what makes the 46th Ward, again, that vibrant piece. We have some of the most historic businesses in our ward. For God's sakes, we are home to the Green Mill, which uh, has historic memories for a lot of us. My 21st birthday was definitely spent in the Green Mill because I'm a 46 warder. When I'm thinking about the development of our community, small businesses are at the top of that. Not only do I want to attract small businesses, but we need to get on top of this commercial rent. Commercial space in our ward is extremely high right now. So it is not giving our small businesses the opportunity to move in and make a profit. At one point, 50% of our small business owners actually lived in our ward. So that showed you the commitment that they had to the community, not just as a business owner, but again, as a constituent. I want to make sure that they are able to live here if they choose to. I want to make sure that we are attracting them with grants and our small business administration really walking a lot of, I feel like, first time business owners through this process of what it's like to open a commercial space. Third, I want to make sure that we them at all costs. We have some opportunities at our fingertips with the use of TIF funds. That is, it's so reason is a lot of our fronts right now are blighted. They're not there. They haven't been used in years. And we're just walking past these places. I would love to make sure that small businesses have the opportunity through grants and through subsidies to move into our ward, to build with our ward, to build as neighbors, and to also make sure that we are including them in some of our roundtables. What I've had an opportunity to do is pull different business owners together and have sidebar conversations about, look, what are the needs that you need as a small business owner? And the biggest one that a lot of them are having a problem with is, how do they access other forms of funding? How are they able to know about these grants that come out and these proposals? They don't even know, right? So what is accessibility? We need to make sure that they are getting this information and this knowledge too. And then we need to make sure that they feel safe to continue to open their doors in our ward. Look, small business owners thrive from communities that are safe, communities that are stable, and that comes with making sure that we have affordability for people to continue to live here. When we have so much transientness across our communities, it doesn't allow for a business to really have a pulse on what is their baseline that they can afford to make every month and still make a profit. So small businesses are literally at the top of our food chain when we are thinking about the longevity of this war. And it's definitely something that I'm wanting to push first day in office.
Wow.
Love it.
I hope that satisfies your question.
Yes, it was a great answer. Oh, I'm so excited to vote for you, Angela.
Thank you, Shelby.
Well, thank you so much, Shelby, for ringing in. Angela, you were closing out, and so you were, and in that closing, you were requesting for support. Please finish up as we wrap up.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask for your support and your thoughts and your positive prayers as we enter the last 3 weeks of this final stretch. It is a possibility that we go into a runoff because Chicago politics, a lot of people don't show up. But I am begging you, neighbors, if you hear my voice, to please spread the message and the word of Angela Clay. We are a grassroots campaign. I am not sent from the machine, I am sent from the people. The slogan of our entire campaign is called Powered by the People. And that is literally the life of this campaign. And I want you to be a part of that. I want you to see yourself in our campaign. I want you to understand that there is room for you to learn. If you want to learn about politics, we have room for you. If you just want to learn about organizing, we have room for you here. We are 3 weeks away from a historic election. And again, I would love if you would share with your neighbors who live in Uptown, Buena Park, Lakeview, that they have an amazing opportunity to vote for their first African American alderperson in the 46th ward. We also have an opportunity to vote from one of their own. I am a child of the 46th ward that has just risen, and I want to make sure that I am raising other families with me along this process. If you can please follow us on social media, because I am a millennial and we have all of the socials: Instagram, Twitter. We are Clay, CLAY. 4 FOR, and then the numbers 46. So Clay for 46 on Instagram and Twitter. If you are on Facebook, we are just Neighbors for Angela Clay. And our website, if you could please donate, every single penny matches. I promise you it does. If it's $5, if you can do $100, I will personally call you and thank you at the end of the week. But our website is www.clayclay46.com. So this has been an amazing opportunity to get in front of you all. If you have any resources where you know people here and you are able to translate or be a buffer between ourselves and all of the diverse neighbors that we have in this ward, please come and help us, because that is how we're winning this thing, as a unit and as a community. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining the show this evening. We are very thankful for your participation. It's been a long 2.5 hours coming your way. and with you indulging with us, staying with us, and being part of the community building agenda. And so I want to thank Director for the Diaspora Affairs in Ghana, Dr. Director Ababio Akwasi Awua Ababio for coming on the show earlier, and then Angela Clay, who's running as alderperson in the 46th Ward Uptown here in Chicago. For all of you who called in and sent your comments, and those comments that I wasn't able to read, I really want to appreciate you again. Nyla, thanks for helping with the production and for all you do. And Angela, we wish you the best from the Progressive Mind show. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. I am your host, Alinko, and we shall be here coming Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. God bless. Happy Black History Month. I hope you learned something about your history this month. All right, Angie, have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.